Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here together today with Dr. Susie Gronski. Hello, Susie.
Hi, Savine. Thank you for having me. And everyone who's watching, welcome.
Welcome. I'm so excited. Well, first of all, to meet you, because actually I'll share with the audience how I got to know about you. It was during the IN hormone health course that I was taking. And basically, Susie was there as an expert on male hormonal health. And Susie, for me, I mean, as said, I just met her right now. She has just an incredible energy. She is just pure sunshine and light. And that's why I'm so excited to have her here in this interview. And besides just being such a beautiful person, I'm also very excited about what she'll be sharing with you. But before I start with the questions, I'll officially introduce her to you. So I'll peek every now and then just to make sure I get everything right. So Dr. Susie Gronski is a licensed doctor of physical therapy and a board-certified pelvic rehab practitioner. In addition to knowing a lot about your private parts, she's also certified health coach. I'll just put some gestures to make it clear what we're talking about. So simply put, she's a doctor for everything down there. That's why I was already pointing before. Her passion is to make you feel comfortable about taboo subjects like sex and the private parts. So social stigmas are definitely not her thing. She provides real advice without the medical fluff. And she's kind of like a friend who knows the lowdown of everything down there. Dr. Susie is the author of the #1 new release in men's health, and the title of the book is called Pelvic Pain, the Ultimate Cock Block. And she's also the creator of a unique hands-on online program, a training program helping men with pelvic pain to become experts in treating themselves. She's also determined to make sure you know you can get help for many, many things. For example, like painful ejaculation, problems with the joystick, discomfort or pain during sex, as well as controlling your pee. So whatever it is, there's really no need to be embarrassed about it. And also, whatever you want to call your private part, whether it's penis, slung, or ding dong, be really creative there, by the way. If you have a problem down there, Susie is really the person to go to. Dr. Susie is currently in her private practice in Asheville, North Carolina, in the US, and she specialized in holistic men's pelvic health. And you can find everything about her and about her work on her website, www.drsusieg.com. And I'll also put a link here below. Oh, what a beautiful bio. And I said, what a beautiful person you are. And so I'm so excited to hear more about your personal experience with sugar and what role has sugar played in your life?
Oh, sugar. It has played an extensive role in my life, actually. It started when I was young. So I grew up in the States, and I pretty much grew up on fast food, like I think most American kids. I won't say all, but most. And I ate cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout college and grad school. So, I mean, sugar and me have a very intimate connection way back in the day. And I started to get sick a lot. So I was the kid that always had respiratory infections, strep infections, asthma, allergies. I started to develop certain food allergies and aversion to foods as I started to get older. And in 2014 is when everything kind of tipped the scale. So I started to lose my hair. I was having chronic sinusitis and lots of anxiety. So, and naturally that was really scary because my degree, when I went to school, they really don't teach you about holistic health. It was really, go to the doctor, get yourself medications. I forgot to mention I was also, because I was really sick, I was on a lot of antibiotics, a lot of anti-inflammatories. So we know that definitely contributes to your health later on down in the road. So I don't think necessarily like that sugar was the main like the main contributor, the main cause, or the single cause, but my diet definitely shaped my environment. And it definitely did not help with making me more resilient in terms of strengthening my immune system and my gut health. So, and then in 2017, fast forward, I started to work with a functional medicine provider who actually looked under the hood and took a very wide lens approach to my health. And I did work with a lot of other providers, but they were really doing the same type of medicine. Here, try these supplements, maybe they were natural, but they still weren't getting to the root cause of the issue. And they were just throwing spaghetti at a brick wall, and they were trying to help, but just not taking the approach that was necessarily right for me and my body. And so I finally started to work with a functional practitioner here in town who took that wide lens approach, who actually spoke the same language that I did with all the knowledge that I knew, and applied it to me. And we worked together and collaborated one-on-one to get to the root cause. And it turns out that I had, big shocker here, SIBO, which is a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And all that is that my gut health and my gut microbiome were not at optimal levels. And so we worked together to weed, seed, and grow. And I'm in the growing phase now. And it has been a game changer for my life. And so when I treat my patients now, I use everything that I've gone through in my experience and how important food is as medicine, and how that what we have done or what has happened to us in our lives earlier on definitely does shape our biology in the future. And the fact that it does do that gives me hope that we can reverse, as in my case, reverse a lot of the things that made it one way and tip the scale and change the ecosystem. We can definitely change the ecosystem the other way. And I'm living proof of that. I mean, it was 6 months of this continuous effort, but I am significantly a different person now in terms of my health issues and all of that. So.
Wow, what a story. Incredible. And I'm so happy that you mentioned that there's so much we can do. And that's also what is so motivational and inspiring for so many people. And that's exactly the reason why I'm also doing this sugar awareness movement and really getting a lot of people to experts to share their expertise, but also actually real personal stories like your own story, because I find that it is so inspirational when you hear that there's actually so much you can do. I'm so happy to hear that, and well done on reversing so much of your own.
Yeah, I mean, it was to the point where my asthma, I couldn't sleep at night. I had to have a bunch of pillows behind my head to stay upright so I can breathe. I started to have skin changes, and my hair was falling out, and no one really knew what was going on. And I didn't have your common symptoms of SIBO. I didn't have pain. I mean, I had some vulvar pain, which I know now through my experience and my education that the gut microbiome can definitely change the sensitivity of tissues and the microbiome that lives in the tissues of the vagina and or in the vulva, and that can sensitize and make things a little bit more cranky. And I did start having some of that, and until I was asked to make those connections, I really wasn't that aware. So.
Wow. Can you tell us more about it? Because that already goes, I can imagine, also into your own expertise with your patients. So how have you seen that sugar has impacted your patient health?
Absolutely. So in my practice, I work with men and women who struggle with pelvic pain. And there are many different reasons why. There's a lot of theories of why pelvic pain arises, but there isn't any one cause. I mean, we can't really pinpoint what causes it. But in my own professional and humble opinion, I do believe that it, just like my story, it was an accumulation of events in one's lifetime that contributes to the messages of our body today. And so I think it's really important to take that wide lens approach, to look at somebody's whole story and put the pieces together, because when we're living in pain, it is very hard to see behind the foggy and dirty window. We can't really see with clarity what's happening in our lives until somebody who can see everything are able to show us, saying, hey, this is what's happened in your life. This is what is contributing and what's perpetuating your current symptoms. And let's work on each one like layers of an onion. You know, let's start to make the glass a little clearer and cleaner. And we do that with one stroke at a time.
I love that analogy. I've never heard of it yet, but
yeah. So, you know, it's the glass is clean. We have to clean it. It's still glass, but we just have to clean it. Or kind of like a gemstone too. I like that analogy. A gemstone that's in dirt. It's still a gem, but you just have to clean it. So, I love metaphors. Anyway, in any case, so when I started, my research started several years back when I started to see a pattern with individuals, just like I started to see a pattern in myself. And the story was sort of similar, you know, they would have pain, they would think it's infection, they would get lots of medication, and especially with men, because men are told that it's prostatitis, which is inflammation of the prostate, but they weren't really, doctors weren't really assessing them for infection or doing the appropriate tests. They were just giving out antibiotics. And sometimes these men would be on several courses of antibiotics. And so before they would actually reach me or reach a provider who does work with pelvic health, they would be on antibiotics for years sometimes, and other medications and other things that they would try, and nothing would help. So at that point, what I know now is that antibiotics definitely do change your gut microbiome. And the research now is coming up showing the correlation, or not a correlation, but they're actually showing that men who have pelvic pain, their gut microbiome is different than someone who has healthy normal flora.
Wow, that's very powerful.
And it is. And again, we're not, many of us providers are not making the connections between what are we doing, what are we giving to our patients? Is it just a tissue issue? And in my belief, I don't think it's just a tissue issue. I think we're dealing with a pain issue, and we have to look at all of the person's health systems and health domains that are contributing to their experience of pain. So that's where I kind of started to look at like the similarities of my clients and my patients to see like what is going on here. Oftentimes too, there's a significant life event that triggers a cascade of things, lots of stress. Certain personality types, very determined, hardworking type A personalities. I don't like labels, but I do feel like there is an association with someone's personality or their work ethic or whatever. And again, it's the perfect storm that kind of contributes to the body just saying no and giving you signals of you need to change something. You need to take action. And that includes both central and peripheral pain mechanisms. And that also includes the psychoneuroimmune system, which I'm sure you're super familiar with from your own studies and research. And really the gut microbiome plays a huge role for altering the immune system, altering our mood, right? And a lot of that comes from, again, diet. And I do ask my patients, what is your diet like? What was your diet like? Were you sick as a kid? Do you get sick now? And then that tells us a lot in terms of how resilient their immune system is. And if the immune system, the policemen of our bodies, those little molecules, those policemen that are running around looking for danger, become on high alert, and you already have an injury or pain, it's naturally going to sensitize those danger sensors because it's trying to protect you. It's not that it's trying to ruin your life, and it may seem like that, but they're just trying. Pain is a defender, not an offender. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think that is like the root issues that could be contributing to the underlying cause and effect. So going back to your question of, how does sugar impact? Sugar is inflammatory. It's not that sugar itself is a bad thing. It's just how much of it we're eating. What kind of sugars are we digesting and eating? And is our immune system able to handle such loads? And often it's a tipping scale. So again, it's not just one thing, but it's a conglomerate or an accumulation of all things in one person's life that, creates health issues that they experience in today. And I also forgot to mention that with pelvic pain in general, when we have any pain down there, if we have IBS, Crohn's, constipation, that also adds to sensitization of the nervous system and creating the alarm bells to go off. So when I'm working with these individuals, I definitely look at all of those things and to say, we need to work on your gut health. We need to change your diet. We need to eliminate sugar and gluten and anything that may transform into sugar and break down into carbohydrates and starches, starches and so forth, because that is also sugar. And it's just educating someone to be a little bit more mindful with what they're putting in, because input equals output.
Wow, I love that. Wow, you have shared so much information there. It's I love your approach, how you said it's just like the tipping scale, like it's not just one thing. I'm totally in there. I was just sharing before with you as well. Like when we go to Italy, we're still on sugar. It's like a lot of actually of our clients are like, "Oh, thank God, you're still human." And it's like,
right.
We're not like demonizing sugar. It's this overconsumption. So I really like that what you say. Like, first of all, there are many, many factors that contribute to a problem, whether it's pain or any other symptoms that we experience. And also, I really like your holistic approach, basically. And my follow-up question to you would be like, what is your reaction from your patients when you then start telling them something about their diet? Do they expect that?
That's a great question. So when I do bring up all these factors that contribute to someone's health, right, to them in particular, first reaction would be kind of, is that really true? Like, could that really be impacting me? And I think for a lot of them, it's just a lack of awareness and a lack of education of what they've been told, because they've been to many providers who are just looking at the find it and fix it. Here you go, but in pelvic pain, in most cases, there is not anything to show. No scans, no tests are showing up positive, and that freaks them out. So through their own research, before they even get to me, I think they have an inkling of diet, because there's a lot of literature, a lot of blog posts of people writing about inflammation and diet and pain. And but it's just, general stuff like, eat healthy. If you're eating out a lot and you're eating processed foods and you're drinking soda and you're not exercising, well, that is certainly going to not work for you in the case of trying to recover from pain. And also when you talk to them about their poop, I have a chart that I have them look at, and they have to describe their poop. What does their poop look like? And then they're like shocked. They're like, what does this have to do with my, with my condition? And it's just educating them on like, well, your poop tells us a lot. And the consistency of your poop, how regular is it, tells us about your gut health. And if, again, the gut plays such a central role in terms of the bacteria that are located in every part of your body, your penis, your urethra, your bladder, your vagina, your clitoris, your rectum, they're everywhere. And again, if there is too much of the potentially altruistic bacteria hanging out, or the bacteria that are in balance, because we both have good and bad bacteria, but are they playing along? And it's all about balance at the end of the day, and homeostasis, and what is contributing to an imbalance. And part of working together is doing that, figuring out what's filling your cup and how can we start to minimize what's overflowing. And that in itself will help heal the gut. And that includes dietary changes if necessary, and not all diets are created equal. There's so many diet fads out there, but until you realize the one that works for you and your cells and your biology and your ecosystem, it's not healthy to just take a guess, and going on extreme diets. I don't believe in those things. Eat clean, eat in moderation, and get a good balance of everything. You should be okay.
Oh, great to hear. I love that. I also use always this analogy with a glass of water. And I always say it's not just one issue. It's really that we live in such a stressful, like full-on world at the moment. There's like technology everywhere. We're like 24/7 online. It's like so crazy. And that's why I also find it so interesting that you even mentioned that sometimes there has been a tipping point where either a very like stress-related event or something is basically just spilled over the water in the glass. So it's just like that little bit of too much. And Yeah, I love it that you even mentioned that there's so many factors contributing to that. And I mean, for personally, from my experience, also like I found sugar to be super helpful when you reduce it, because it also clears up more space in your glass. But you're totally right, also with stress, and it's all interrelated, interconnected. Like the more stressed you are, the more prone you are also to go out and get some, snacks or
Yes.
processed like
Yes.
food. And yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, because we crave we crave those things because of a imbalance with insulin and glucose and our pancreas and our liver and all of those things. And I think most people are really shocked. And I'm going back to your question because I think I just went on a tangent, like what I'm telling you, word vomit. But people are kind of shocked at first. Some are in disbelief, and others are just denial too. They just want that cure, that magic fix, that magic pill, not realizing. And I wish I had that. I'd be rich, but I don't. And the reality of it is that it's we have to move away from such linear thinking. Right? Such linear one-way thinking to more of an emergent style of thinking, more of let's look at the bigger picture with a wider lens to see all of the contributing factors. And that does require a lot of internal shifts and transformations to occur, because ultimately behavior change comes from an internal motivation. And part of, as a coach, and you're a coach, that that's a very important key process that needs to occur for anyone to want to change and get better.
Yeah, it can be quite a long journey, usually, especially when people don't really realize how long it took them to actually get to where they are right now. But yes, what you said, they just want one magic pill to, help me out there. Like I want to, be here. Yes, exactly. And I think also the other thing that a lot of people they misunderstand from their own body is that when pain or symptoms occur, it's a beautiful sign from your body that there's something out of balance. And your body is not, as what you said, it doesn't just want to hurt you. It's actually a beautiful thing because it's guiding you. It's like, hey, there's something. It's like a little knock on your shoulder. Hello, there's something out of balance. It's like, we're not listening. We're so busy. And it's like knocking a little harder and a little harder. And all of a sudden, then we find ourselves in a place where like, oh, what happened? Like now you have this or this, and they think the body turned against them. But yeah, I also, luckily, I see more and more, like how quickly we can still reverse symptoms, whatever conditions, physical conditions. And it takes more than just one pill and one night.
Right.
It's beautiful how much you can do, and I love that approach. Also, what you have with your patients to really help them holistically on this journey to actually get better. Get back to better health, basically.
Yeah. Optimize their health, and also empower them to be in charge and self-efficient too. Like knowing, wow, I have all these tools. I can apply them to my life for future painful states or future complications. Like I know what to do. They have a plan, and they have a plan for life versus, here, do this, set of exercises or take this pill. And what happens when the next time something else happens? And it's all part of the same issue, but the connections weren't made, and I think by empowering an individual to know that as long as you're in a human body, human things and conditions are going to come up, but you can certainly make yourself more resilient by equipping yourself with the training and the knowledge and the human life skills that are necessary to persist and persevere and live a life full of vibrancy and vitality and health. Because without health, I mean, I would tell you, any person would say, what's the number one thing that's important to you? And most people would say, my health. Whether that's mental and physical and mental, it's all connected. It's all impacting, body reflects the mind reflects the body.
Yes, beautiful. And that's why, like, I love this quote, your health is your wealth. It's like, the number one in life. It's our, it's our vehicle to get us through this life.
Yes, exactly.
It's really incredible. Oh, thank you so much for sharing so much with us and with the audience. And it's beautiful to hear how much you empower people, because that's also, I think, really one of the trends that I've seen, that as what you said, like a lot of people are looking for a magical pill, and we have really put so much trust in third parties, and we kind of feel like, and we don't trust ourselves. We feel like, no, we can't do much ourselves. And that's, I found, where a lot of people don't take responsibility any longer for their own health. Whenever there's something, they just go to this specialist, which is great. And especially, if it's something urgent or acute, like definitely reach out to them. But
Right.
there's so much we can do in terms of prevention. And then really also, it's what you said, in the future, rather than going crazy every single week, because now, it's low carb, high carb, no sugar, lots of sugar. I don't know if that's going to come back every, lots of sugar. But, it's like, when you rely at other sources outside of you, at a certain point, it can be contradictory information. And I love this approach where you just really empower people to become aware of their own body and see it as something that they can work with, and they can work out their own issues with help of, other specialists when they need to.
Right.
Beautiful. What are your tips to wrap it up, like, with the audience, that you would like to share?
Great. So my top 3 tips are, especially for sugar and diet, look at the label and your ingredients. They're so sneaky. I used to love ketchup, and I realized, oh my gosh, high fructose corn syrup is like in every ketchup bottle, and every ketchup that I find at the store, even if it's organic, watch out for the marketing gimmicks, because they'll try to slap on fancy labels and, oh, it looks so sexy and all that sort of thing. But when you look at the ingredients, bottom line, what is in it that you're eating? And if it's a lot of things that you just can't pronounce and you don't know what it is, I would not eat it. Eat something that's clean. I make my own ketchup now, my own mayonnaise, my own sauces, and they're a lot easier to make. It's very intimidating if you want to like start making your own stuff, because you're like, oh, how am I going to do that? But it's super easy when you just start to do it. And it's challenging at first, but you get it and you're like, oh wow, I know this by heart. Now I can make it myself. But in any case, I digress. Look at the label, look at the ingredients. Don't get wowed with all the fancy, gluten-free, 0 calories, sugar-free, because it's got fillers in it and stuff too. And that goes for drinks as well. So just look at the label and be a conscientious consumer. Number 2, moderation, moderation, moderation. Anything good in life must be moderated, and anything bad in life must be moderated. So make sure that you are, that you don't sacrifice, you're not suffering or depriving yourself of, a sweet treat here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's just put that on the table. It's how much of it you're consuming on a daily basis. And again, sugars hide in hard to find places, including your breads, other condiments that have sugars in them, like I already mentioned. Just be conscious of what you're putting into your mouth and how much of it that you're eating. If you're eating a little bit here and there and you're spacing it out, it won't harm you. But moderation is key.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes alcohol. I forgot about that. Alcohol, wine, clear spirits, they all have a foundation of sugar, right? Carbohydrates, some sugar. And then my last tip would be balance. And I've already mentioned that in the interview previously, talking about balance, because you have to balance your life, not just your diet and work and all that, but life and internally what's happening as well. So create that balance. It's not, I mentioned this before, but it's not just the sugar that causes health issues to arise, but it's also what's happening inside and outside of our environment that shapes our biology. So taking a perspective and looking at the whole you to optimize your entire health and your life and your happiness.
Wow, beautiful tips. And I love all of them. And I think especially the last one you shared, that's something new in this interview series, where, really this kind of inner and outer reflection. And I think that's beautiful that you shared that, because it's something that a lot of people kind of underestimate. They really kind of separate all the areas in their life and think, oh, I have an issue here, but this is great. So they kind of find balance in that way. But no, it's actually that you kind of feel good in all areas of your life. Wow.
Yeah, we don't live in a vacuum. If we took our cells and put in a petri dish, they wouldn't survive. They need everything. Again, our environment shapes our biology, and environment isn't just the physical environment, but like you're saying, the internal reflection of how do we really live our life and how do we respond to life. Are we reacting on autopilot, or are we really responding?
Mhm. Beautiful, beautiful. What a wise words. How can people get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you and hear more about you?
Sure. So on my website, drsusieg.com. I'm also on Instagram, Dr. Susie G, Twitter, same thing, and Facebook. So I do work with clients both virtually and in person. So it's just a matter of what you need. So.
Great. Yes, and I would really recommend every guy also out there to really get your book. It's about what it was. Hang on, let me get the title right again. So, pelvic pain, the ultimate cook.
Yeah.
Yes. I was telling my mom, maybe I turned red during this interview because I'm like one of these people who are like, oh, down here.
Yeah, bleep, right? Yeah. And it's a short read, but it's all about, helping if somebody wakes up one day and has these symptoms. So I try to help, for them not to freak out, make sure everything is clear, get all the red flags checked, but it's actually a dude's manual that takes you through the steps of what is it, what am I dealing with, how can I deal with it, and what are the steps that I can do to prevent in the future. So.
Wow, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time, for this wonderful interview, and really keep rocking. You're just an amazing woman, and it's incredible how you can actually turn all the taboo subjects into something that is so practical, and you actually can make such a big difference in people's lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for your movement and your message and getting, the good word out there. And for all you listeners, thank you for watching this interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. Bye-bye.